This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all.
Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. It is the first full day of Passover. Tonight is Holy Thursday, or today is Holy Thursday. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234. To kick things off, meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, so Mike, as we tossed you, we got word of an earthquake, not a huge one for their standards, but a little bit of a shaker. 4.6 to 4.9 is the range they're saying. It happened at 1:45 a.m. local time in the San Francisco Bay Area. No injuries, no damage, but this, because it was more toward the Santa Cruz Mountains. But I mean, that's all part of the Pacific Rim of fire, right? So they're used to getting that by the plate there.
That's right. That's right. The slip slide fault. So we'll check on that. I've got some live earthquake graphics rather for you. We'll show you that coming up in just a bit. And if you watch the ONLACA channel, the weather loops with live earthquakes that show the latest earthquakes there. So if you can't wait another 5 or 10 minutes for us to give you the forecast there and the check on the earthquakes, you can head over to the website. Now our forecast this morning starts off with some rain across the East Coast. Wet weather moved in last night, and as that rain was taking over, it gave us a good soaking. Ground is wet, but now for the rest of the day, I think we'll just see the clouds take over, and you will notice a much cooler feel. We're losing about 30 degrees just in the matter of a day. So the cold front doing its job, making it feel chilly, really just across New Jersey, primarily because of that wind off of the water, whereas places just down to the south and west turn milder because tomorrow we are back in the 70s, even in New Jersey, with those temperatures anywhere from 15 to 20 degrees above average. So it's the warm front kind of doing its dance. It moved south last night, providing the cold air, and that sticks around through this evening. And then tomorrow, the warm front moves back over, providing the warmer weather. Cloudy in the morning, but sunshine tomorrow afternoon, and that will really help us warm back into the 70s. Then as we head into Saturday, I think some clouds return, maybe a few sprinkles across northern New Jersey. Sunday morning, early morning services start off dry but cloudy for Easter Sunday, and then may see the rain return by later on in the afternoon. So it's all part of this big system. This is our rain for Sunday that works in. Right now it's working through the Midwest and South as it gets going for the rest of the holiday week. We'll tell you more about that, including that check of the earthquakes, Ken, in Southern California, coming up in just a few minutes.
Usually they say that there are earthquakes in the Newark, New Jersey area every time I have a little taco or something for dinner, but that is entirely unrelated. But thank you, Mike. I appreciate it nonetheless. I'm sorry. I'm just a juvenile and I had to. We will check back a little bit, my friend. Again, it is 54 degrees. It says here in northern New Jersey, 46 in Trenton. It's amazing how 24 hours got 20-degree temperature shift. It is just amazing how much cooler it's gotten in that short amount of time. That's why we had so much rain overnight as well. In Southern California, it is 59 degrees in Los Angeles, 59 also in San Diego. Let's take a look at what we have in terms of traffic. We go to 1 and 9 in Elizabeth. There is a disabled vehicle, 1 and 9 northbound, north of Elizabeth Avenue, one left lane closed, not causing any major delays. It's a local road, really. We have a disabled truck now, I-80 eastbound west of exit 58, Madison Avenue in Patterson with the right lane closed. And on the New Jersey Turnpike Hudson County Extension, there is a crash reported west of interchange 14B by Liberty State Park in Jersey City. All lanes open. There's a vehicle on the right shoulder. Route 47, we have a utility pole down both directions south of 615, which is West Boulevard and Vineland. All lanes are open northbound, but one right lane and the right shoulder are closed on the southbound side. Your Hudson River crossings right now, Lincoln and Holland both reporting 25 to 30 minutes in. GWB upper and lower levels now we take a look, and they are wide open. This is a holiday. So we have, in fact, double holiday. You have, for Judaism, this is the first full day of Passover. And for Christianity, this is Holy Thursday. So as of last night at 5 p.m., I think about 2/3 of the United States has checked out. So I think it's going to be a relatively light day. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Go to the West Coast right now. There's a collision report in LA on Northtown Ave at Vinton Avenue. We have another collision now in West Valley at Nordhoff Street and Aqueduct Avenue. And we have, Mike had mentioned that there might be some weather situations out there. So we have, it says road and weather situations in a few locations. But we do have another traffic collision South LA at 1061 West 204th Street. Well, President Trump delivered an address to the nation last night on Iran. Trump said that he foresees an end to the war within maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Iran's nuclear ambitions and military destroyed, its ballistic missiles also destroyed, and its regime effectively changed.
And we are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. We're getting very close. I want to thank our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. They've been great, and we will not let them get hurt or fail in any way, shape, or form.
Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said that he is ready to end the war. He wants it done now, but he says he wants to get some concessions from the United States. Those concessions would include basically a guarantee that we wouldn't invade anymore. But we're saying, don't worry about it, dude. We're not going to invade you anymore as long as you don't make any nuclear bombs. As good as that, all right? Even Stephen. Its ballistic missiles are all gone, as we mentioned, so they don't really have a means to defend themselves. Trump said that he told Iran if they do not take the deal he is offering them now, he will, quote, decimate them, preventing them from ever recovering economically again. As for reopening the Hormuz Strait, that wasn't part of our mission, and we don't rely on the waterway for our own oil. So Trump told all the nations that need oil from the strait, you can come and reopen it on your own. Earlier this week, U.S. airstrikes using bunker buster bombs destroyed massive stores of Iranian missiles, along with the factories where they were built. As we mentioned at the top of this broadcast, a preliminary magnitude 4.9 earthquake rattled the Bay Area shortly before 1:45 local time this morning, shaking awake sleeping residents and surprising people with alerts to their phone. According to the USGS, the earthquake was centered near Boulder Creek, which is near Santa Cruz by the mountains. There were no immediate reports of injuries or damage, although the shaking was widely felt throughout the region.
Four, three, two, one. Booster ignition. And liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Hope you had a chance to see that last night. How cool was that? That was NASA's Orion spacecraft and the 4 astronauts on board safely leaving the Kennedy Space Center in Florida last evening. They are now on an historic trip to fly around the moon and back. The launch briefly delayed just 11 minutes. That's pretty darn good to just have an 11-minute delay. They had to double check a possible issue, but everything was deemed normal. It was a sensor. The Artemis II astronauts will be in space 10 full days, venturing farther away from Earth than anyone before in human history. God bless them. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments yesterday in Trump v. Barbara, a case challenging President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship for children of illegal aliens. Trump attended the session personally. It's the first time a sitting president ever attended the Supreme Court's oral arguments in the nation's history, although they do have a seat there at the Supreme Court that is always reserved for the president since the beginning of our republic. They've had that seat there, but he's the first president who actually used it. Everybody kind of considered it symbolic. The administration argues that the 14th Amendment has long been misinterpreted to automatically grant citizenship to anyone. It reads, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Now, for the Trump administration, their emphasis is saying you have to take note of the line that says, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, which means if you come from another country and you are subject to their jurisdiction, then you can't simultaneously be subject to the jurisdiction in the United States. So that's the argument they're making. This will not be decided until sometime in June or July. A federal judge Tuesday ordered a stop to the construction on the $400 million White House ballroom project until Congress can give its approval. But President Trump said he doesn't need the approval of Congress because Congress only makes the approval for that in order to finance it, and he has private financing for this. Other presidents in the past have made their decisions to renovate the White House. It's been done about a dozen times throughout history. So President Trump says he's not stopping. He says that the order, by the way, from activist Judge Richard Leon marks the first setback that Trump has even had to deal with since beginning the construction on the 90,000 square foot building. Trump said that he will appeal the decision. Reading from the ruling, though, the president pointed to passages where it stated that the president is allowed to ensure the safety and security of the building and the grounds. And since the ballroom is actually sitting on top of the nuclear escape bunker, they need to recover that ASAP. So he's going to use that as his argument to continue construction. Luigi Mangioni's federal trial in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson has been delayed a month until October. A judge, however, did deny the defense's request to push the trial to 2027, when the state trial will begin. Mangioni's lawyers argued that back-to-back trials would violate his rights, but the court ruled that delaying further would not solve those concerns. Jury selection in the federal case will now begin October 5th, with testimony expected later that month, and Mangioni faces the possibility of life in prison if convicted. Senate and House Republicans reached a deal to reopen the Department of Homeland Security after a partial shutdown. The agreement funds the department through September 30th. Democrats had pushed for restrictions on immigration enforcement, but those measures were not included in the final deal. President Trump says he will sign it. And Megan Thee Stallion was hospitalized after becoming very ill during a Broadway performance of Moulin Rouge, the musical. Doctors say her symptoms were caused by extreme exhaustion and dehydration. She was treated and released from the hospital, and thankfully she is recovering. Computer giant Oracle quickly and coldly laid off 30,000 employees worldwide on Tuesday, 18% of its total workforce. Management did the deed by sending out a mass email informing everybody, hey, you're fired. The communication read, after careful consideration of Oracle's current business needs, we have made the decision to eliminate your role as part of a broader organizational change. As a result, today is your last working day. Adios. Employees, I added the adios. Employees' corporate access immediately cut off, so they had no access to any files or contacts. Some employees were offered severance deals. The Oracle bloodbath follows similar large-scale terminations at Amazon and Meta. And if you like deep conversations but hate small talk and group settings, you're not an outcast, you're an outrovert. Unlike introverts who prefer solitude, the extroverts also who enjoy group settings, outroverts and independent thinkers who prefer to sit back and observe a group instead of joining in. They rarely ask others for advice. They are creatures of habit. The idea of working on a team rather than on their own makes them nervous, yet they are considerate and sensitive to other people's feelings and are often viewed as warm and friendly. When we return, pizza getting a high-tech upgrade, and it's happening right here in New Jersey. Humanoid robots making pizzas and drones delivering them. And you can check it out all up close. We'll tell you about X Pizza Day when we come back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Thursday, first full day of Passover, and it is Holy Thursday for Christians. Live in New Jersey and New York now, we welcome Los Angeles, San Diego, and our new channel on FLA in South Florida. At 15 minutes past the hour, we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
So, Mike, I'm looking here. It is 20 degrees colder right now than it was 24 hours ago, and it rained where I am all night long. A lot of rain.
A lot of rain, yeah, some good beneficial rain, setting the stage for some warmer days ahead, especially for tomorrow. We'll talk about that part of the New Jersey forecast in just a bit, but I wanted to touch on the earthquake that happened overnight just south of San Francisco and San Jose. So we'll zoom in there, and there's where it happened. You mentioned right by Scotts Valley, 4.6 magnitude quake, at least on this computer, 4.9 preliminary. A lot of those kind of fine-tuned with new information that comes in, and it was along that San Andreas Fault, which runs right there up along the coast. There are some minor faults here that are less active that it likely occurred on, but right in that area, working along the Ring of Fire. It's that large area that encircles the Pacific as the most active tectonic plates on the planet, where the Pacific plate is moving along the North American plate, allowing for those to form. And it's a fault where there's a subduction area where part of that plate goes underneath the continental United States. It's also a little bit in some areas where it rubs along each other, known as a strike-slip fault. So a little bit of a morning geology lesson for you on this Thursday. Starting off the afternoon across the Northeast with a little bit of wet weather, cloudy, cooler weather today, but much milder weather tomorrow. And then we have our next shot of rain on Easter Sunday, which clears out by Monday. Much of Southern California, however, starts off a little bit damp with a cooler feel as it turns a little bit wetter over the next several days there, thanks to that next system moving in off of the Pacific. So again, the forecast points to more clouds today, a little bit of a dry period tomorrow, then our round of afternoon showers on Sunday. So Easter Sunday morning for services should be dry, and then looking ahead, what happens out west, well, there's the storms that are moving across the country, but it's this next round of cloud cover. You can see it here entering the Pacific that moves into Southern California into today. We'll tell you more about the rest of the week's weather coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, and appreciate the update on the earthquake too. It's 4.9. Wow, in San Fran area. All right. Thankfully, nobody hurt and no major damage reported. 718 East Coast, 418 West Coast. And in terms of traffic, we do have a few things to report. It's relatively light today. Again, it's the first full day of Passover. Passover started at sunset last night. It goes 24 hours. Remember, in Judaism, it starts, the new day begins at sunset, not sunrise. So it began at sunset last night. This is the first full day. And it's also Holy Thursday, the beginning in Christianity of what we call the Paschal Triduum. So Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and then Easter Sunday. I know what happens to Saturday. Saturday is like a continuation from Judaism, remember, of Friday at sunset until Saturday is considered a day. It gets confusing. Sorry, just follow along. I used to be a priest, but that's the rule. They call it the Paschal Triduum because it's 3 days considered before Easter Sunday. All right. So in terms of traffic, what we have is a bunch of things. We have a crash right now on the Jersey Turnpike southbound entrance ramp by interchange 13 by the Goethals Bridge in Linden. All lanes open. Vehicles on the right shoulder. We have a parking related incident now at JFK Airport. They're saying that there's an incident at one of its parking facilities, and at another one, Terminal 5, which is their major lot, it's 100% occupied. So a lot of people, because of the holidays, got out of Dodge. So if you are driving yourself to an airport, make sure you have a reserved parking space. Disabled truck now on I-80 eastbound west of exit 58 Madison Avenue, Patterson. The right lane of 4 lanes closed, and it's a disabled vehicle 1 and 9 northbound north of Elizabeth Ave in Elizabeth with the left lane of 3 lanes closed. Utility pole down on Route 47, both directions impacted. South of Route 40, which is in Vineland, all lanes are open northbound. The right lane and right shoulder are closed southbound. Hudson River crossings right now, it's 25 minutes in by the Lincoln or the Holland Tunnel, and the GWB not looking too heavy at all, actually. It's pretty light, and this is, again, because of the holidays. We take a look at our 80. Wow. How often do you see that? You could actually have a picnic in the middle of one of the lanes there. That's kind of nice to see. If you were ever thinking about driving in during rush hour to Manhattan via the GWB, here's your chance. Here's a chance. Spend your $14 and you can get there fast today, or just save your $14, whichever you prefer. All right, on the West Coast, what we have now in California, just a couple of incidents. And again, same kind of a deal there. It's very early anyway there. But we do have a traffic collision, no injuries in West Valley at Las Virgenes Road by Mulholland Highway. In LA proper on Northtown Avenue, there's a collision at Vinton Avenue. And in West Valley, we have a collision on Nordhoff Street at Aqueduct Avenue. It is 21 minutes past the hour. Pizza is getting a high-tech upgrade, and it's all happening here in the Garden State, New Jersey, where we have the best pizza in the country, by the way. Don't tell New York. The New Jersey Pizza Alliance is launching X Pizza Day on Monday, April 20th. From 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Columbia Inn. It's on Main Road in Montville. That's in Morris County. An event that explores the future of pizza through robotics, artificial intelligence, even autonomous delivery. It's a chance for shop owners, food innovators, and pizza lovers to see firsthand how technology is reshaping the industry. Joining us now is a good friend, Anthony Pizzi. So Pizzi, but it's pronounced Pizzi. Oh, look at you. He's freaking out with the robot face. I love it. He is the founder of the New Jersey Pizza Alliance, the man who loves two things in life, robotics and pizza. And he puts it together with New Jersey Pizza Alliance on X Pizza Day. Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Ken. Good morning. I apologize about that. I forgot I had it on this whole time.
Oh, of course you did. Anthony, here's the thing. I love how, we always, when I introduce you to people, I say, it's Anthony Pizzi. Forgetting your name is spelled exactly like pizza, except the A becomes an I. So clearly, genetically, your ancestry made you the pizza guy, which is perfect. So when and how did you come up with X Pizza Day? And tell us all about it. We do have some video to show, by the way, as you talk.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I came up with X Pizza Day last year for sure, like late last year in the fall. I kept thinking about, how do I put this? So I have heard a lot of different things in the industry, struggles that we've had. Labor shortages are a big issue, and just trying to eat healthier and essentially stop those shortages. So I came up with the idea for X Pizza Day. I think what's important in this industry is abundance, right? Right now we have an industry that doesn't have a lot of labor, that, is always trying to be better when it comes to experience. And that's where robotics, we're really at the beginning of this era, Ken, for robotics. We're right there. So, it really came to fruition. And, now we're doing this event. We have these amazing partners who are involved. X Robotics is bringing their pizza cube. We have Toast with their Toast IQ product so that shop owners can basically have a better view of their entire business model. And then we have RoboStore bringing the PizzaBot G1. And we have DEXA bringing autonomous drones, not to mention the biggest sponsor of all, Tesla, who is actually going to be bringing cars so that you can actually drive in them fully autonomous. So they use a software called FSD version 14, which is supervised. So in previous versions of the software, you'd have to hold the steering wheel basically to have it drive on its own. Now you don't even have to do that. So we're going to show people for the first time what autonomous would look like. What was that?
You have to, I didn't mean to step on you. You still have to be attentive and sit in the driver's seat, but you're basically a passenger. Just keep your hands on your lap. In the event you see something happening, you're there to grab. But yeah, so it's the next step. Technically Tesla has the fully automatic stuff. We just don't allow it here yet for obvious reasons until we can get a grip on it. But this is all very cool. And when we're talking about the potential of robotics, either helping or, we ultimately don't want it to replace workers, but helping. If you're a small pizzeria struggling, just getting off the ground, and you can't afford that extra one or two hands to get you going because, you need every penny in the beginning, something robotic, if the price could be right, something robotic can help basically level the playing field, can it?
So this is what that's actually a really good point. And I tell this to everyone. I think there's 3 points when it comes to robotics in the pizza industry that is really going to take off in the beginning and very critical parts. I think the assumption is robots are going to take people's jobs, take pizza making jobs away. I don't think that's what's going to happen. So I think the first thing that robotics in the pizza industry is going to solve is bussing and cleaning of the restaurant, the kitchen, and inside the dining room, making sure that that is actually perfect, and possibly even serving. Number two is preparation, and that one is critical, Ken. And because your family also had a pizzeria.
Yes, we did.
You have to get up in the morning. You got to make sure all the ingredients are cut. In some cases, some shops, they keep ingredients for an extra day. You could probably get another day out of it. But I think what's important is you want to have the freshest ingredients every single day. And to have a robot basically have all those ingredients ready for you when you come in, not to mention preparing some menu items. So breading chicken cutlets, breading eggplant, mozzarella sticks. These are what we call repetitive tasks. They're repetitive. There's something that a robot can do easily. And I think that is the focus of the event is these are two things that robots can really do well. But the biggest one is number 3. And number 3 is autonomous delivery. And that, I believe, is going to begin at the end, at this time next year. I think we're going to be hearing more about autonomous delivery through Tesla and other companies such as DEXA, who's one of our sponsors, where you have an abundance of drivers, and a big struggle that our industry is having right now too is 30% fees on food when you get food from these third-party apps. 30% fees plus delivery fees. This is going to save the consumer a ton of money. It's going to save the shop owners a ton of money. And it's going to also be way easier for a way better experience. Way better experience because now you're going from the shop directly to the customer because there's so many of these vehicles. So it's not.
I don't mean to cut you off, Anthony, only because we're up against. Anthony, we're up against a hard break, so we're at the end here. So I just really need that website so people can get tickets, whether you're a pizza shop owner, worker, or just a pizza lover. This is an expo kind of a thing you're going to want to come to. So tell everybody how they get tickets.
So you can go to xpizzaday.com/RSVP, and we'd love to see you April 20th at the Columbia Inn. We're going to have unlimited pizza. Look forward to it.
And if you check your site, you'll see that Chris and I already went on last night, and we gave our RSVPs.
I saw. We can't wait to have you.
We will definitely. We can't wait, actually, both of us. So my family used to own a pizzeria. One of those repetitive tasks we hated, shredding mozzarella. And no, you can't buy it pre-shredded. Pre-shredded mozzarella has cornstarch on it, so it doesn't stick together, and it doesn't make it melt right. So that's why when you make pizza at home, whatever, you got to shred it fresh every day. And that's one of those repetitive tasks that if a robot did that, I'm all behind it, 100%. All right, X Pizza Day, Monday, April 20th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Columbia Inn, Main Road in Montville. Anthony Pizzi, born to be the pizza man with a name like Pizzi, founder of the New Jersey Pizza Alliance. Thank you so much, my friend, with your robotics for coming on, and we will see you on the 20th.
Thank you, Ken.
You bet, Anthony. 28 minutes after the hour. When we come back, affordable housing continues to be one of the most pressing challenges facing communities across New Jersey. We'll talk about it in 2 minutes. Very good morning. 30 minutes past the hour now, Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. First full day of Passover. It is Holy Thursday, the beginning of the Paschal Triduum leading to Easter Sunday. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast and the West Coast. And now we've added Florida's channel on FLA. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
From what I understand, Mike, in the next 6 months, we're going to have so many channels that 1/3 of the broadcast will be dedicated to reading the different channels we're adding. It's a good problem.
It's like a little streaming syndication, right? Starting off, and I'll be doing the
Exactly.
weather for all of them, so I'll just be here 24/7, 24/7. You
Yeah,
know,
we got to
have my
we
wife.
got to do what Anthony Pizzi was saying. We have to get a robot to help with the repetitive tasks for you. So you do the main
Just
forecast,
have
and the robots will do the
pizza
local
delivery on
forecast.
speed dial, just keep this weatherman
Exactly.
fed. On a day like today, though, you might want to order in, especially with the cool, kind of damp conditions that are around. We start off across New Jersey with clouds and a very cool breeze, and with that, more of the rain sets up for tomorrow, later tonight into tomorrow, as a lot of this unstable air works its way across. You can even see last night had some downpours come through New Jersey, got a good soaking just in time for this morning. Well, that helps to rinse a lot of the pollens from the atmosphere. So if you notice your allergies have been pretty bad the last few days, it's because the moderate level of tree pollen that's around was floating around in the air, but now that starts to give way to a better feeling. I think it'll be back tomorrow. But even out west, that Pacific moisture coming off of the Pacific, allowing for some wet weather, damp conditions, a little bit of a marine layer shaping up there until the front passes by, which takes its time, probably not until later on this evening for that front to pass on by in Southern California. That will eventually dry you out into tomorrow. But then there's this next low that creeps on in across the border, allowing for some of those clouds to linger even through Easter Sunday. So cooler conditions there, and that's good considering how hot it's been out west, and then starting off your day on Monday back to the marine layer. So even still, the last few days showing a little bit of cloud cover, especially with those next rounds of wet weather that move in. And this is the big story, these storms across the middle of the country. You can see them lined up right there from Texas all the way through the Midwest. That's our rain that comes into New Jersey into this weekend. We'll give you more details and time out that, Ken, coming up in our next weather update.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. And just a reminder to the folks on the West Coast on LACA that we do have in the San Francisco area, just south of San Francisco, that 4.9 earthquake. It rattled people in the middle of the night, about 1:45 a.m. Again, I'm just looking at the latest reports. Good news is no injuries reported, no damage reported. I guess if that happened here, a 4.9, that would scare the living tar out of people. We've had, low threes, and that was enough to scare people here. But 4.9, thankfully, their construction is different there, and but nonetheless, something to keep an eye on. All right,
And
Mike,
think
thank you so much.
every degree on that scale, every single number, go from a 3 to a 4.
Right.
It's 10 times more powerful. It's logarithmic. So not just a little jump, but a big jolt.
Right. A 3.2 to a 3.3 is actually way more significant than it sounds. It sounds like
Sure.
no, it's actually a lot more in terms of, right, because the scale is more exponential than anything. But much appreciated. Again, thankfully, prayers for everybody. It looks like there was no serious damage and no injuries, but we'll keep an eye on it. Mike, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. 48 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 46 in Trenton. So it's like 20 plus degrees colder right now than it was yesterday at this time. Los Angeles, the temperature 65 degrees, 66 in San Diego. In terms of traffic, we have a few things to report. Crash on 295 southbound north of exit 40, Route 38 in Mount Laurel Township. You could see it there from the upper left down to the middle of the screen as people, a little bit of fog too to report there, just making their way through. It's moving. It's only going about 20 to 30, but at least it's moving. We have a crash down the Turnpike southbound entrance ramp at interchange 13 by the Goethals Bridge in Linden. All lanes open, vehicle off to the right shoulder. On I-80, disabled truck eastbound west of exit 58 Madison Ave in Patterson with the right lane closed. And on 1 and 9, a disabled vehicle northbound north of Elizabeth Avenue in Elizabeth. The left lane is closed. Finally, on Route 47, utility pulled down both directions south of West Boulevard in Vineland. All lanes are open northbound, but the right lane and right shoulder are closed southbound. The Hudson River crossings now 20 minutes at the Lincoln and the Holland, only 10 minutes at the GWB upper and lower levels. You can see pretty good flow making your way in on this holiday, first full day of Passover and Holy Thursday. In terms, quickly, I'm sorry, I forgot our friends in California. We have a report of a fire now, and this is on the I-10, on the 10 at 20th Street in West LA, at collision West Valley at Las Virgenes Road and Mulholland Highway, and a collision reported in LA proper on Northtown Avenue at Vinton Avenue. It is 36 minutes past the hour. Affordable housing continues to be one of the most pressing challenges facing communities across New Jersey. In Elizabeth and throughout Union County, local leaders are working on long-term solutions to help more families find decent places to live. The Housing Authority of the City of Elizabeth has just unveiled a new 5-year roadmap to expand affordable housing and improve quality of life for its residents. William Jones is the executive director of the Housing Authority of the City of Elizabeth. Thank you for coming on this morning. Good morning, William.
Oh, good morning, Ken. It's good to finally sit down and talk. We've been working like this for a while. In Elizabeth, we got a very progressive housing authority. We work very closely with City Hall. The mayor has always been cooperative. We've been doing public housing and affordable housing since 1940. Had a big Hope 6 conversion program in the year 2000. Put in 3 new senior buildings in the city, 2013, 2021, and we're working on another one. But what we decided is not to sit back and rest on our laurels. We wanted to increase the focus. There's a lot going on. And as you said, affordable housing is a buzzword now, and there's a reason for it, because many people are beset by trying to find suitable housing. We do our best. So we came up with a 5-year strategic plan, and we hired a consultant out of Chicago, Bonner Group, and we worked about 12 to 13 months to come up with this plan. And we think, we've got a good blueprint going forward. As I said, not to rest on our laurels. We got to, look at going forward. The problem is statewide, in this state is very difficult. We've met in Elizabeth our affordable housing goals. There's a mandate for every municipality. But we got to continue to build housing. We get requests all the time from seniors and from residents and from homeless people, who are burned out of their homes who need assistance.
I think if I could just jump in really fast, sir,
Sure.
I think a lot of people, when they think affordable housing, immediately they think poverty. That's not the case. Affordable housing is affordable housing. There are young couples who need affordable housing. They don't have $300,000 to put down on a house. They don't have 100,000. They do have money for rent, but they don't have 300,000. And I think that's part of the problem. It's been ingrained in people's heads. Am I right, sir? Listen, affordable housing means your kids can afford a place to live when they come up, right? So this is and when you retire and you're on a fixed income and you don't have, 150,000 a year to put down on housing, this way you could live in a place till you pass that you could afford.
So it's a great point. Affordable housing is an issue across the board. Like if you're making $50,000 a year and you don't want to pay no more than 30% of your income for rent, which is the standard, you got a problem there, because that's $1,500 a month, and you're not going to get a suitable place $1,500 a month in Elizabeth or Union County. Your point is great. $300,000 to buy a home, typically on a standard mortgage, you got to come up with $60,000, 20% down to buy that, and that's not probably the home that a progressive couple wants to get. So it's across the board. So we work on the low end. I understand there's a lot going on in the middle end. There's a lot of new buildings, that are market rate rentals, but they're still difficult to rent for a lot of people.
And William, if I could jump in again, I love the way you've done this, because you have a lot of communities who've put off doing affordable housing until it's too late, until they're getting threatened by the state or the federal government. You guys have been doing it, as you mentioned, for decades. So the people in the community of Elizabeth know about it. And you bring the residents and staff and community partners together so that everybody has input and nobody gets blindsided. Why can't everybody follow this pattern?
So I mean, I've always done that, particularly when we did our quote Hope Six problem project back in 2001 and so on. We had to get the residents involved, so we're used to doing this. Not only that, as we move along, we partner with a lot of agencies, Groundwork Elizabeth, to make our complexes more environmentally friendly. We work with the Urban League of Union County. We work with the Chamber of Commerce. We've got a lot of partners. City Hall, the mayor has been extremely, involved with our work, and even HUD. We've always had a good relationship with the Department of Housing and Urban Development, so it makes a big difference. I will tell you again, the relationship with the residents, the seniors, or the family residents is extremely important. People have to realize.
Mhm. Well, you guys do it right. You clearly do it right. William Jones, Executive Director of the Housing Authority of the City of Elizabeth. Happy holidays to you, and thank you so much for coming on this morning, sir.
Hey, Ken, good to sit down with you, and have a good day. We'll talk to you
You
again.
too, and come back anytime, please. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thanks for having
You
us.
bet. Thank you. 43 minutes past the hour. We're back in 2 minutes with News Nation's Elizabeth Pran. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, 45 minutes past the hour, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast for your city.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
So I have a friend who's watching us actually streaming on our newest channel for the state of Florida on FLA.com. So my friend Andrew's down there and he just said, "What you do out here?" And it's funny because we talk about it like you couldn't see us at ONNJ.com in the state of Florida or ONFLA. Oh, right. You could see us on LACA or you can watch us on any of the channels in any part of the country. But it's like the old TV affiliate days where now we have a new channel, right? We're broadcasting exclusively. The purpose of the different channels is those channels offer content that's unique to the location that the channel is built for. But that doesn't mean that we're also not on all those channels at the same time. Did I explain it well?
I think so. It's about kind of giving you the weather for where you live because
Hmm.
especially when you look at an app and it gives you a nice little sunny icon, but it doesn't exactly match up with the conditions outside. You need a futurecast for that. And that's what we've got for you,
Hmm.
Ken. The futurecast looking very pleasant by tomorrow. It's going to be mostly cloudy today, though. So we finish off the afternoon on a pretty gray and rather cool note for New Jersey down across southern parts of the country, like toward Florida. The rain that moves in later tonight into tomorrow actually reaches Florida by then. And then into Monday, could have some of those lingering showers there across the southeast U.S., whereas we clear out over in New Jersey. West Coast looking drier by this weekend after a little bit of wet weather, but even starting off next week with some light shower activity. So the futurecast for the Northeast showing the cooler weather today, and then the warm front moves back over New Jersey, providing sunshine and 70s tomorrow. And then we get a few rounds of rain across northern New Jersey into Saturday afternoon. But it's the big push of rain for Sunday afternoon, for Easter Sunday, that will provide some wet weather by later on in the day. So I think early in the morning on Easter Sunday starts off dry, but gradually transitions wet by later on in the afternoon, and then clearing just in time for the day on Monday. The first half of the month of April shaping up very warm for all parts east of the Mississippi, even out west, warmer than average weather as well, even across Southern California. So beautiful weather there, and then a little bit of a drier feel heading into the middle of the month with slightly drier conditions setting up for the middle of April, Ken.
All right. Thank you so much. Your 20-degree difference in the Northeast from
Yeah.
yesterday to today. Amazing. I heard the rain. I kept waking up to hearing rain against my window last night, all overnight. So there you have it. It's a good. That's why I look so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. All right. Thank you, Mike. We'll check back in a little bit, sir, and we appreciate you as always. It is 48 degrees in northern New Jersey, 46 in Trenton. On the West Coast right now, we have 65 degrees Los Angeles. It is 62 degrees now. That's dropped a little bit in San Diego. In terms of traffic, we have a crash on 295 southbound north of exit 40, Route 38, Mount Laurel Township. The right lane and right shoulder are closed. Over to the New Jersey Turnpike, we have a crash now southbound by the entrance ramp of Interchange 13 by the Goethals Bridge in Linden. Doesn't really show much here. It's kind of hard to tell from this camera shot, but just behind where it says Call Ken, those vehicles are heading into where that crash is. But because it's so light today, being that it's the first full day of Passover and it is Holy Thursday, a lot of people are off, a lot of people out of town, which is why, by the way, the airport facilities reporting all their parking lots are at capacity. If you're driving yourself to an area airport, make sure that you have a reserved parking space. You don't want to miss your flight scouting around for a space. That's the worst. I've done it. Let's see. We also have an issue on I-80, disabled truck eastbound west of exit 58, Madison Avenue, Patterson, right lane closed. Disabled vehicle 1 and 9. Northbound, north of Elizabeth Avenue in Elizabeth, with the left lane closed. Utility pole down on Route 47, both directions, south of West Boulevard and Vineland. All lanes open northbound, but the right lane and right shoulder are closed southbound. Hudson River crossings all pretty light. 10 to 15 minutes, Lincoln or Holland into Manhattan. It's also 10 minutes now on the GWB into the upper part of Manhattan. You could see the upper level on the right. Lower level, no, I got that backwards. Upper level on the left from this angle, and lower level is on the right. Over to the West Coast right now, we have a hit and run reported in Newhall. That's at the 5 at Magic Mountain Parkway. Report of a fire in West LA at the 10 and 20th Street, and a collision reported now in LA proper, Northtown Avenue at Vinton Avenue. 50 minutes past the hour right now. The Supreme Court heard oral arguments yesterday in Trump v. Barbara, a case challenging President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship for children of illegal migrants. Trump attended the session personally. It's the first time a sitting president ever did that, although they do have a chair set aside at the Supreme Court meant for the president, should he ever visit. He just happens to be the first one to take them up on it. The administration argues the 14th Amendment has long been misinterpreted to automatically grant citizenship to anyone by reading all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Emphasis from the Trump administration on the part that says, and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's what's being debated right now. But based on, and it's always hard to read based on the debates you hear, but based on what we were hearing with the back and forth with the justices, it's sounding more and more like they're a little skeptical about what the Trump administration is arguing. We bring someone in this morning who knows more about it than me. News Nation's Elizabeth Pran, a
I don't know
journalist,
about
mom, and a
that.
wife. Yes, you do. And the host of the Raising America podcast. You can see her every week at this time here on Mornings. We say good morning to you, Elizabeth.
So, Ken, you're right. I know, and I'm not a lawyer. Sometimes I wish that I was. I don't know if you're going to like what I'm going to say. I think you might get a little spicy with me. I think this is a waste of time. And listen, this administration, you and I can talk about 2024, right? Immigration, immigration, immigration. We have spent months covering the midterms, right? And of course, not as sexy when it comes to headlines, not the same voter turnout. But policies are made in midterms, and what the voters care about in midterms, I think the voters care about the price of gasoline and the price of beef and living wage and affordability. And I think right now, using our efforts to cover this story on a precedent that has been accepted for 125 years, and the cameras are watching, as you mentioned, the first sitting president in history, they're scrutinizing him in the gallery, headlines about where he's sitting, when he shifted. I read a whole article about which justices gave him a brief look, making eye contact, some ignoring him. As a mother of 3 kids, I want to know what you're doing for me right now. I want to know what policies are in place for the education of my kids in public school. I want to know what they're learning, who has control over it. I want to know why my son's teacher has 2 jobs. All right. I do not want my president wasting his time. And I know that you might get really spicy when I say this. This has been set for 125 years. And you heard the justices really question that. I mean, what are the practical consequences of reversing what has been accepted and interpreted by the highest court in the land again for 125 years? Are you agreeing? Are you disagreeing? I'm really curious.
No, first of all, I would never get spicy with my favorite human being in broadcasting on the planet, Elizabeth Pran. I will never get spicy with you. But here's the way I view it. And I view it as this. I don't think the Trump administration had any desire or belief that they would be victorious in this. I think, just like the Titanic, Washington moves very slowly. And just like gay marriage was introduced 15 years earlier and eventually, and people said, you crazy, that'll never become law. And sure enough, it became. I think the way you get things done is you introduce them 10, 15, 20 years earlier, and you get people talking about it, and it becomes an issue the next election and the next election until finally something happens. I think that's the plan. But there are other ways that this could be addressed right now without the Supreme Court getting involved. How about you make it a law that if you are a pregnant person, and we say person, if you are a pregnant person, you cannot travel on a plane or boat into the United States in your last 2 weeks. How about that? I mean, I know that's going to be, people would fight that in court, but how about that? There are ways of coming. Now you've prevented the issue because you're not going to have just people just meandering around all of a sudden who aren't pregnant, popping out a child. You know what I'm saying? So there are different ways you could address it instead of trying to change something, because you're right. What happens when you change the birthright citizenship? What about all the people who were born here who thought they were citizens? Now you're going to go back and say you're uncitizened. What? Hello. There are plenty for all the people who are trying to do this as birthright tourism. There are hundreds of thousands who are good, phenomenal American citizens by birth. And they've contributed. Many of them are elected officials. They work hard. They have businesses. You're going to now say they're not citizens? So you see, I'm not getting spicy. I just have I have the out of the box thought about it.
Well, and I actually think that it's valid. And the birth tourism thing, and that is something that was brought up, right? If you listen to some of the oral arguments. But someone like Marco Rubio, as you mentioned, there are ways to do it legally. I think what's getting caught, and your proposal would be some type of a compromise. What the justices pressed on, at least in one scenario, I listened to it in and out throughout the day, was the massive bureaucracy it could create when you're trying to track the legal status of parents. Okay, so there's 2 parents, right? Despite what's debated, there's 2. So you have to track both of those parents. And then what do you do when the child is born? What are the nuances? What is the protocol? And then you get into protocol, and there's a myriad of ways. You and I both know this. You could have a child born prematurely, and then that child needs to be in the NICU. So how do you reduce what could be really a ripple effect of all of these piecemeal laws on trying to control what, as I mentioned, and as you admit, has been around for 125 years. So is it going to change now at the state level? That's what people are so curious about. And we'll know in June. And obviously, this is something when we talk about these oral arguments, I think sometimes folks forget that this is just a launching pad, right? This is the oral arguments. We won't know what the justices feel or hear or debate until June, before it's all released in the public. And there could be not an overarching, a reversal of the 14th Amendment. They could piecemeal it, right? And we see that a lot, which is why that's when you and I call lawyers and say, wait, can you come on the show? Because now I'm confused. So we could see that in June. It's just that the oral arguments certainly were the justices pushing the administration on exactly how this would be done. It's the burden on them to prove that subject to the jurisdiction thereof means something different than what they've interpreted for a century.
Yeah, I'm with you. And there are ways to do that. I agree. And how about we just start by outlawing state by state birthright tourism? I live half time in Florida. There is an entire former hospital on the NASA, thinking New York now, on the Broward, Miami-Dade County border. Literally, a millionaire bought this former hospital, converted it, and they don't make bones about it. They literally bring in, it's Russian tourism. They bring in thousands of women in their 8th month every year. They go there, it's staffed with doctors. It's advertised both locally in South Florida and overseas. And people come over, they spend 50 grand, whatever, how many rubles that is. And they come over, have their baby, go back. Now they're gone for 18 years. And now when their child is a citizen, comes back at the age of 18, they could call over mom and dad and bring the entire family into the United States. That's the long-term plan. If we start by outlawing that on a state-by-state basis, I think that's a compromise. I think a lot of people, because no one wants to be taken advantage of. It's one thing, you're accidentally born here and of course you're a citizen. I have no problem with that. But taking advantage of me just so that you could reap the benefits of being in America, but with the programs and all, to bypass the system, I have a real problem with that. And I think a lot of people do. Americans are fair people. Am I wrong? And with our last 30 seconds here, I bow to you to tell me, please, about what's coming up on the Raising America podcast.
Okay, I'll be quick. I know Pam's wrapping us. So we're doing a story this week on the fact that we're seeing a lot of cell towers being erected across the country, and some of them are in playgrounds and some of them are near schools and in backyards. So there's been a loosening of some FCC rules, and there's a House bill that are allowing them to do that without some debate that we've seen over the past decade. And we're talking to moms and parents who are just very concerned. They don't know about these EMF waves, the impact on kids. And they're saying, can we have a robust debate? So it's a little bit of an eminent domain here. We might get a little spicy, you and I. Maybe we'll talk about it next week, but the episode will launch at 12 today. And of course, midterms. We're all midterms, Ken.
I'm with you. And one thing that a lot of people don't even realize, because I actually studied broadcast engineering, and Pam is going to really hate me on this one as I keep going. Do you know that 5G service is not like 4G service? You don't even notice the 5G antennas. The ones you see with those cones and stuff, those are the 4G antennas. Those are being phased out already. 5G antennas are almost every other block on the top of a telephone pole. It looks like a transformer. You don't even know. So it's like literally we are surrounded by EMF. So that's something else. I'll send you some links. So aside
from birthright, now I know way too much about macro and micro cells. So you and I can just geek out at another time, Ken, just you and I.
100%. I used to own FM radio licenses that I engineered myself. I'm a nut. So, all right, we will talk about it. Have a happy Easter, my friend. It was so nice to have you on as always. You bet. And we'll see you again next week. Enjoy your time. Elizabeth Brand is the best. Just saying, my own personal feeling. All right. We're going to be back in 2 minutes. And for those of you watching on LICA on the West Coast, stay tuned because I'll have all the information about the earthquake that happened up by San Francisco. For the rest of you watching on New Jersey, we're back in 2. A very good morning, 8:02 right now, Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234 in this first full day of Passover and Holy Thursday. Cloudy, cooler today, a little windy. Highs down to the mid to upper 40s where we are right now, upper 40s. We head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a check of the Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
So does this mean we're not going to get too much warmer through the day?
No, today is a classic example of what you see is what you get. The weather right now is pretty much the weather all day long. Cloudy, cool, damp, with temperatures that start off in the 40s. We stay in the 40s, Ken. From Hackensack to Newark, even right down by Medford, uniform. No matter where you travel across New Jersey, there's only a 2-degree temperature difference from one place to the next. A solid 25 degrees cooler this time now as opposed to yesterday. So plenty of chilly weather. Excuse me, all thanks to that easterly breeze that blew in throughout the overnight after the rain. And with that, we have those clouds around throughout the rest of the afternoon as well. So we start off cloudy, we stay cloudy, likely some drizzly spots around, but I think we're dry for the most part today as temperatures go, again, anywhere from 46 to 49 degrees. Not much of a budge, really, when you go from area to area. So as far as the futurecast showing the clouds around throughout today, lasting through this evening, maybe a little sprinkle passing through tonight, but tomorrow, while it begins cloudy, it quickly turns sunny, and when that sun comes out, those temperatures skyrocket into the 70s. 74 in Trenton by tomorrow afternoon. Same for you in Melville, and even up toward Hackensack might hit 75. So another beautiful day ahead by the afternoon on your Friday. Then we wrap up the weekend, at least Saturday, with another round of warm weather and that wind blowing in from the south, primarily allowing for the coastal neighborhoods to stay a touch cooler, but inland well into the 70s. Saturday afternoon and evening might have a quick shower or sprinkle to the west. Now, this is the tricky part. Saturday morning, or excuse me, Easter Sunday morning, starting off with a little bit of cloud cover and maybe damp conditions, but the rain should hold off until the afternoon and then clear out by Sunday evening. So plan on wet weather for Sunday afternoon, even though the morning should get through rather dry, and then we look to be very pleasant and dry going into early next week. So a bit of a warm up ahead after the cool down today, and then rain by Sunday, Ken.
All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. And yeah, it's just amazing how in 24 hours we got all that rain. That's where the front is coming through, and then you see a 20-degree difference. It's crazy. But as Pam, our director, says, that she had a conversation with Mother Nature because she was a little upset at the near 80-degree temperatures and being, they did a woman-to-woman thing. And Mother Nature said,
Yeah.
you know what, Pam? The boys got a couple of days. Now it's time to do what the adult women want. And this is what we got. So she said she could breathe its air now. Ugh. All right, bring on summer. We've had enough winter, Pam. Sorry. All right, we'll check back, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. 48 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 45 in Trenton. As Mike said, this is basically it. We're going to get maybe 45 to 50. That's going to be the day. So it is what it is. And then in a few days, it'll be 60s pretty much every day thereafter for the next few weeks. I'll take it. In terms of traffic, not a whole hell of a lot. Again, remember, today is first full day of Passover. It started at sunset last night. So blessed Passover. It's 8 days. Blessed Passover to our friends in Judaism. God bless you. And then, of course, in Christianity, we have the Paschal Triduum, Holy Thursday, Good Friday, Holy Saturday. And of course, it culminates Saturday at sunset, begins Easter Sunday. So that's why that's the third day. And we have the resurrection on Easter Sunday. So very special time for all of us. That's why traffic is not very heavy right now. 295, we have a crash southbound north of exit 40, Route 38, Mount Laurel Township with the right shoulder closed. We have a crash on the Turnpike southbound entrance ramp by interchange 13 in Linden. All lanes open, vehicle on the right shoulder. Route 47, we have a downed utility pole, both directions impacted south of West Boulevard in Vineland. All lanes open northbound, right lane and right shoulder closed southbound. The area airports, because a lot of people went on vacation this week. It's spring break for some. It's, of course, the holidays. So as a result, the area airport parking lots are jammed. If you are driving yourself to an airport, make sure you reserve a parking space. Just go online. It's easy to do. Go online and you could just put in the name of your airport and put parking, and you will see a I'm sure one of 100 lots near your airport, and you could reserve it, show up, and you get a shuttle over to your airport, not have to worry about it. That's the best way to go. Please do that for yourself. Look at the Hudson River crossings. The Lincoln and Holland, only 10 minutes now into Manhattan. The GWB is 10 to 15. I don't even see how that's happening. The lower levels on the right, uppers on the left, very light because of the holidays. And that's a good thing. And mass transit is all currently on or close to schedule. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. It is now 8 minutes past 8 o'clock. And it was a big day on campus at Rider University, our new sponsor, by the way, where students were scrambling for eggs and some pretty big prizes. Let's lighten things up for holiday, okay? On New Jersey's Lisa Marie Falbo has more.
We're at Rider University for an excellent afternoon with their campus-wide Easter egg hunt. Let's hop on over and see who took home the big prizes. Hosted by student-run radio station 107.7 The Bronx, the annual Excellent Egg Hunt brought thousands of eggs to the campus mall, along with food trucks, games, and even a petting zoo. Students packed the lawn, ready to dive in for a chance to win major prizes, including a Royal Caribbean cruise, a diamond pendant, and more.
Event marketing is so crucial to media today with partnerships with corporations. So number one, it's about that. Number two, it's about bringing the campus community together. And I think what we found in the Excellent Egg Hunt is something that I think a lot of places have trouble capturing. You're talking about 18 to 21 to 22-year-old kids or adults, right, who are kind of caught in this weird limbo at the moment. And what that limbo is, they're not a child anymore, but they're not really a working adult at this point. So the egg hunt kind of encapsulates their childhood with going to becoming an adult. And I think for these students, it's super important.
Events like this highlight Rider's close-knit campus community, where students take the lead in creating experiences that bring everyone together.
And it's really a really great way for students to de-stress, right? They've gone through a whole semester of grading. They just got back from spring break, so they're stressed about finals. So this is like a really fun event where it doesn't focus too much on educational, but it just focuses on fun and candy and prizes and food and stuff like that.
From broadcasting to campus events, Rider offers hands-on opportunities that give students real-world experience while building lasting connections.
I started screaming and shaking, and nobody believed me around me. My friends were like, "No, you did it." And I was like, "Yes, I did."
Senior Lillian Quinn took home the top prize, a Royal Caribbean cruise, after diving into the crowd with a strategy that paid off.
Me and my friends all ran out to the center, went down to the ground, and then just scooped wherever we could.
I haven't won anything before, so it's nice for sure. They should do stuff like this more often.
Yes, that was my first time celebrating Easter because since I'm an exchange student, I came from Japan actually, so yeah, that was great. I don't know whether I can bring this to Japan though, but we'll see.
At Rider University, it's not just about what you learn in the classroom, it's about the experience, the community, and moments like this that bring it all together. From Lawrenceville, I'm Lisa Marie Falbo.
I think that's awesome. And look, for anyone who says, "Oh, why are you bringing religious stuff into a school?" Well, Easter eggs are really not religious. I mean, yeah, we associate it with the holiday of Easter, but Easter eggs that's sort of a mishmash of different traditions and whatnot, and it just happened to fall around springtime. It's a fertility tradition, and that's where the Easter egg came from. And so we mix it together and make it Easter. But Easter is, of course, about the resurrection of Christ, et cetera. So I just want to make sure there's a reason for the season, if you will. But Easter eggs are a fun way to bring people together and get them talking. I want to give a shout out to that young lady from Japan who speaks English better than like half the people I know, maybe 2/3 of the people I know. And she's from Japan, born and raised in Japan, flawless English. That takes a lot of hard work to learn English with no accent. Wow. Amazing. Very impressive. But that tells you the quality of student at Rider University, our newest sponsor for the morning show. You see them right there. Thank you, Rider. We love you. Well, we are going to come back in just 2 minutes, and we have a lot to talk about, including we're going to be talking about a report of nearly $500 million gone missing of COVID relief money that was supposed to go to Newark schools to help some 18,000 students get tutors, and fewer than 2,000 got that. We'll talk about that. Where'd that money go? It's your tax money. When we come back, you're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:15. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. 20 degrees cooler right now than it was 24 hours ago. Amazing. Cloudy, cooler today, a little windy, highs down to the mid to upper 40s where we are right now. Never going to change today. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
We should just reference once again, there was a 4.9 magnitude earthquake south of San Francisco. It happened about 1:45 a.m. local time. No damage or injuries reported, but nonetheless, that is a significant enough temblor that we should mention to people who might have relatives or friends on the West Coast now that we're doing On New Jersey, just to keep an eye on it. And of course, there could be after shocks throughout the day.
Certainly.
So there's always something to keep an eye on so no one gets scared. But nonetheless, everybody's okay. No damage. 4.9, though, is a significant number, and we had its user.
Yeah, there was a foreshock that was posted not too far from there of just over a 3 magnitude. So a little bit of activity along the West Coast, along those seismic zones. Our forecast, though, nice and quiet today here in New Jersey. We start off cool and cloudy and gray. Not going to see any sunshine today. It's all about that gray sky and a very cool, damp feel as temperatures are a solid 25 to 30 degrees cooler than they were yesterday. You can thank the easterly breeze for that, blowing in right off a very chilly Atlantic Ocean, allowing for gusts throughout the afternoon to remain quite cool, and then throughout the next few days featuring a wind shift pushing in more of that warmer weather as soon as tomorrow. So here's the rain that moved in last night, gave us a good soaking throughout the overnight. Now we keep our eye to more clouds throughout the afternoon, maybe a sprinkle again later on tonight off to our north, but most of the big storms stay put to the north and west for now. Tomorrow we clear out, beautiful sunshine returns by late morning, early afternoon, highs return to the 70s. Saturday, mix of clouds and sun, back in the upper 60s and low 70s, could even even see some 80s if there's more sun. But it's Sunday that has the clouds in the morning, and then a large swath of rain comes in by Easter Sunday afternoon, and that sets the stage for a drier but cooler start to the day on Monday. So as far as the rain amounts that we've seen so far, already picked up about a ½ inch of rain last night, and then going into the next few days, could see about another ½ inch or so up there in northern New Jersey before the big round of wet weather comes through on Sunday. As far as Monday and Tuesday, we're quiet again. Tuesday is chilly enough to maybe support a little bit of flurry activity there in the northwestern corner of the state. But then Wednesday and Thursday is dry, and our dry trend takes us into next week. So while the weekend forecast is rather mild to start, could be warm in spots, it turns a little bit cooler and then wet on Easter Sunday. So be sure to get the Easter egg hunts in early in the day, as well. The best chance of seeing the dry weather is early on Sunday morning, Ken.
Well, you know what? Can't have it all, but we think of what the purpose of the day is and not worry about Easter egg hunt. Worry more about being together with family, and if you celebrate religiously, that you celebrate religiously, Easter being the most significant holiday in the Christian calendar. But if you don't celebrate religiously, just getting together with family, very important thing. That's more important than anything. So, all right, sir. Thank you very much. Always appreciate it, Mike. It is 46 degrees northern New Jersey, 45 in Trenton right now. And again, as Mike was saying, this is basically where we're going to be, in the upper 40s for this day. There you have it. In terms of traffic, what do we have? We have a disabled vehicle on 495 eastbound, east of Pleasant Avenue, Weehawken. The left lane is blocked. We'll take a look. Earlier, Pam was saying, pardon me, that there was just a tiny bit of traffic there. Not a big deal, because it is the first full day of Passover and Holy Thursday. A lot of people are off this week. We have a building fire, Route 63, both directions impacted north of Fairview Avenue and Fairview. All lanes are currently closed. We'll keep an eye on that. That's new. That just popped up. Utility pole down on Route 47, both directions, south of West Boulevard in Vineland. All lanes open northbound, right lane, right shoulder closed southbound. Hudson River crossings right now. Lincoln, as we mentioned, because of the 495 issue, that might be a bit of a slowdown. They're still telling us 15 minutes into Manhattan. The Holland Tunnel is reporting 10 minutes, very light. And the GWB, very, very light. Look at that. That's only 10 minutes in. Upper level is on the left. Lower level is on the right. It's 8:20 right now, and close to $300 million in COVID relief funds set to Newark School District to address learning loss allegedly unaccounted for. Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia says a chunk of that money was supposed to help some 16,000 students with tutoring, but fewer than 2,000 got any help. So where'd all the money go? In one instance, a so-called literacy consultant was given $1.4 million, and a full year later basically was a no-show with no work ever started. Lawmakers say the consultant was a friend of one of the deputy superintendents of the district. On top of all of this, New Jersey taxes, I should say, statewide, went up, with more money slated to go to the Newark School District. At the same time, the district is actually losing students. Over 800 students have left the school district. So why do we have to give the school district more money? And at the sacrifice of districts in other areas around the state who are having to do things like cancel football, cancel baseball, because more of their money is funneling Newark, and Newark has fewer students. You may recall some years ago when Meta Chair Mark Zuckerberg donated $100 million in cash to the Newark School District. Most of that cash ended up going to consultants, and a whole bunch of it went unaccounted for. It's almost like a bottomless pit of cash. You just keep throwing money in, yet the literacy rate is low. The math rate is low. They love to say that they're graduating 80 to 90% of their students now, but are those students graduating knowing anything? And I'm not criticizing the students. I'm saying it's not fair to the students of Newark. And I think somebody really, really, really needs to audit the Newark School District. The ultimate goal is the same. I think everybody wants the same thing. You want the kids to come out with a future, knowing stuff, being able to get to college. But the problem is when you keep throwing money, $35,000, $40,000 a year per student, which is more than just about any other place on the planet per year. And then so many of them come out. I think the literacy rate is only in the 20 or 30 something percentile, or 20 or 30% rate. Now, there's only about a third of all the students come out reading at the proper level and knowing math. For $30,000, $35,000 a year, you know what? Send them over to my house and I'll personally tutor one or two, and they'll come out knowing more. There's something wrong there, and somebody needs to look into it. Who? That's what the government is about. That's why we pay them. So we need to hold them accountable. We'll talk to Assemblywoman Dawn Fantasia next week, try to get her on and ask her more about this. We'll talk about a serious mistake. Republic Airways pilots contacted the wrong air traffic control tower while they were landing at LaGuardia Airport last month. This just happened 2 weeks ago. Delta Connection Flight 5752, which is not Delta's property. It's operated by Republic Airways, was about to land at LaGuardia on March 15th when the pilots mistakenly contacted the tower at JFK. Each tower has a different frequency, and there's a chart in the plane. They're supposed to know where they're headed. The JFK controllers were a little confused as to why the flight from DC was requesting clearance to land there. The flight made a go-around after the slip-up and ultimately safely did land at LaGuardia. The mix-up happened exactly a week before the Air Canada Express jet collided with a Port Authority fire truck at LaGuardia, killing 2 pilots. Is there a connection? No, but we just mentioned that because we just want to point out how busy this area is in terms of air travel, and that is being investigated, that Republic Airways flight, definitely. With Easter right around the corner, just a couple of days away, I was invited to Uncle Giuseppe's Marketplace for a special tour and a closer look at the Italian delicacies that make the holiday so memorable.
And right away, you feel it. This isn't just a grocery store, it is a true Italian marketplace filled with tradition in every aisle. One of the highlights was meeting Franklin, their resident cheese expert, who clearly loves what he does. He actually travels to Italy himself to hand-select cheeses, bringing those authentic flavors straight back here to New Jersey. And back here at home, they produce and sell more than 1 million pounds of fresh mozzarella every year. For Easter and Passover, the store is fully stocked with everything you need, from traditional dishes to gourmet favorites. They're also celebrating 25 years in business, with 12 locations across the New York metro area, and they're still growing, including a new location coming soon to Cherry Hill, bringing the experience to South Jersey. A true taste of tradition, just in time for Easter. And special thanks to Rosica Communications for the invitation.
I'm sorry, that's just a personal aside there, because those good folks, they spent the entire day having to deal with me. I'm a total foodie. So thank you to Franklin. Thank you to the good folks at Uncle Giuseppe's Marketplace. What a wonderful place. If you're into food, there's few places on the planet that you will fantasize about going back to more than that place. It is literally, you could eat off the floor. It is so clean. Everything's so perfectly placed on the shelves. And you name the food. If they don't have it, they'll get it for you. It's just a miracle place. I love it. I'm going back today. In fact, I'm going back in an hour to buy my pizza gain, as they call it. The pizza gain is a stuffed meat pie, which we Italian Americans love on Easter. They make them there. So anyway, just had to do that personal aside. Thank you again to Franklin and the good folks there. It is the holidays. And by the way, they have lots of Passover stuff too. So you can go there and get your Passover stuff. It is 8:25. If you live and drive in Hoboken, you're about to see your roadways renewed. The city will mill, pave, and upgrade miles of road. Over the next 10 weeks, at least 50 blocks of Hoboken roadways will get their makeover. City's also working with PSE&G and North Hudson Sewerage Authority to restore roadways impacted by recent underground infrastructure projects. To find out which roads will be paved and when, go to the city's construction updates page at hobokennj.gov/construction. And spring wedding season is here, and couples across New Jersey had a chance to get a head start at a special event in Short Hills. London Jewelers Short Hills recently hosted its annual wedding band event, bringing together luxury, craftsmanship, and a little bit of romance. We caught up with Ross Fields, London Jewelers boutique manager at the mall at Short Hills.
We take pride in integrity, service, and just downright honesty. We have clients from many generations ago. The fact that we're celebrating 100 years now is really close to the heart. And I'm really proud. We're very proud of that. And we have generations of families coming in from their grandparents came, their parents, and now they're coming in to celebrate their life's journey.
The London Jewelers annual wedding band event brought couples into the store to explore hundreds of wedding band styles, from classic designs to diamond eternity rings. Guests took advantage of special savings while also working one-on-one with GIA-certified gemologists for personalized guidance and custom design options. The event also offered complimentary services like professional cleanings and sizing, creating a full service experience for couples preparing for their big day. And for one lucky couple, the celebration continues with a Caribbean honeymoon getaway.
Beautiful place too, just fantastic. London Jewelers, and we should mention, and I just skipped past it, the good folks at London Jewelers, they offer consultations year round, by the way, for a lot of people that don't realize. It's at its Short Hills location. Visit them at londonjewelers.com. Love walking into a jewelry store. It's so exciting. All right, when we come back, we want to make sure that you know that we will have lots more in terms of meteorologist Mike Favetta and how the weather forecast will impact your holiday weekend. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We're back in 2.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing expert.
Good morning, Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. It is 46 degrees northern New Jersey, 45 degrees in Trenton at 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. First full day of Passover. It is Holy Thursday. Cloudy, cooler, a little windy today. Highs down to the mid to upper 40s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the detailed Garden State forecast.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
Mike, I would be remiss if I didn't let you talk about your friend who runs the mozzarella department in the Morris Plains, Uncle Giuseppe's. By the way, I think I gained 14 pounds walking into the place.
It's hard. It's hard not to. It's like if Costco and Disney had a baby. That's what I describe Uncle Giuseppe's, right? And a nice Costco and Disney had a nice Italian baby, named it Giuseppe, and there you go. It's got so many great places. It's hard to walk through the aisles and not go, oh, that looks nice. Oh, I should try that. Oh, that looks nice too, because it really is a fun experience.
And they do have tastings, by the way. They have samples out. They have samples out. They have special, Orecchio that makes provolone cheese. That's the biggest provolone producer in Italy. Of course, I'm going to food out here for a sec. They make a special provolone just for Uncle Giuseppe's, because Uncle Giuseppe's has like a dozen locations and more coming right now. The couple more about to be built. And so they make one just for Uncle Giuseppe's. And our friend Franklin, whom we talked to yesterday, flies back and forth to Italy like 3 times a year. And they literally have a batch that the provolone is a 200-pound tree trunk that they get. Must cost, I don't even want to know what it costs, but I hugged it. Because I wanted to take it with me, but they had to pry my cold, dead hands off of it as I left. I'm sorry. Italians are a little obsessed with food, aren't we?
Just a little. So if you stop by the Morris Plains location, say hi to Rosario. He'll be there stretching the mozzarella. Known that man for decades. But yes, our forecast looking beautiful by tomorrow. Today, it's a day to go shopping, a day to spend the day indoors with all the clouds you see here, especially with the sunrise reflecting off those cloud tops. A very gray scene across New Jersey today, even down the shore where a breeze off of the water will keep it feeling chilly, even inland. Unlike yesterday where we had low 70s and even some mid 70s pop up inland. now. We are a solid several degrees cooler today by about 25, 30 degrees. So we have another little bit of round of wet weather coming, which helps keep the pollen a little bit lower. The tree pollen has been elevated the last few days, but now, certainly today, we'll see that lower and then come back in a big way tomorrow. As far as the average high of 57 degrees, we don't get anywhere near that today. It's going to stay rather cool and gray with the warm weather returning tomorrow. So as far as the rain chances into tomorrow and Friday, I think tomorrow and Saturday, that is, I think we'll see the best chance of rain on Sunday afternoon. Morning is dry, but the afternoon is pretty wet, and then right back down to 0 with a dry day on Monday and cooler weather. We're just kind of in between these weather systems. Warm air to the north, cold air to the south. The warm air comes back in by the afternoon, and that allows for tomorrow's highs to climb back into the 70s under mostly clear sky. And then we're kind of back to mix of clouds and sun on Saturday. It's our transition day, starting off dry on Sunday morning, but then going wet by the afternoon and seeing that rain take over for Easter Sunday afternoon, and then dry and beautiful on Monday. The 7-day forecast has plenty of mild weather ahead. Dry weather, have to wait till next week. As far as the rain chances, they're pretty high for the next few days, specifically on Sunday. And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a solid stretch of dry, pleasant conditions. That's actually quite average to take over into the first few days of the next week in April. Looking very pleasant, Ken, into next week.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And deal with little rain showers, but it'll bring us nice flowers for May. That's the way we got to look at it. 46 degrees northern New Jersey, 45 degrees in Trenton. In terms of traffic right now, it's very light. We only have there is a building fire reported impacting Route 63, both directions, north of Fairview Avenue and Fairview. All lanes are closed through there. A utility pole down Route 47, both directions, south of West Boulevard in Vineland. All lanes open northbound. The right lane and right shoulder are closed. And then there are parking restrictions. A number of the parking facilities at Newark, LaGuardia, JFK, and then even the smaller regional airports up at Stewart Airport in the Hudson Valley, down at Trenton as well, and Philadelphia. The long-term parking facilities are pretty jammed because a lot of people are away on vacation this week. So if you are driving to one of those airports, make sure you have reserved parking so you don't get there and have no place to park your car and then miss your flight. You don't want that. That's not a good way to have the holidays happen. Right now, we have a check of the Hudson River and the crossings now, Lincoln and Holland, are only 10 to 15 minutes. There was an earlier issue on 495 going into the Lincoln. It's already been cleared. GWB upper and lower levels, very light. The upper level is on the left and the lower level is on the right, making your way across the bridge. 8:35 is our time right now, and fighting hunger while reducing food waste is the mission behind Table to Table. It's a nonprofit making a meaningful impact across New Jersey communities. It's actually a food rescue program, not a soup kitchen or a pantry. It's a food rescue program. So what does that mean? That means they get food while it's fresh and still perishable, and they get it to where it has to go so people can eat it and it doesn't go to waste. Brilliant. And they're expanding their reach through a new partnership with Goya. Goya presents Flag Cities. Joining us now to talk about the mission, impact, and what's ahead is Heather Thompson, Executive Director of Table to Table. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning, Ken. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Do you know that I was your spokesperson, one of them, for 10 years? Did you know that?
I have heard this, and I think it's time to bring you back, Ken.
There, you tell me. So my wonderful co-anchor, we used to co-anchor ABC 7 in the morning, Lori Stokes. She was very good friends with your founder, Clarence Salatopoulos. God bless her.
Yes.
And so Claire used to call us her pups. That was her little cute term. She was, my pups, are you going to come and help us? She was, you couldn't say no to Claire, right?
You still can't. Claire's still on our board,
can't.
and it's still impossible to say no to her.
Oh, no. And she has that sort of indirect way of saying, you'll come and bring like 10 or 15 people with checkbooks, right, my pups? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Claire, we will. But the main thing is Claire took it from nothing with the board and to an event. I mean, you have multiple events each year and you help feed how many hundreds of thousands of meals a year do you guys do now?
Well, last year alone, we rescued enough food for over 25 million meals. So it really is incredible how much we've been able to grow and expand from that foundation that Claire and her co-founders laid back in 1999.
Amazing. 27 years of just success in helping our neighbors in New Jersey. So Again, I gave the little Reader's Digest version. Tell everyone how Table to Table works to both reduce food waste and to fight hunger at the same time. You partner with a lot of good organizations.
We really do. The network that we've been able to build over the years really inspires me. I've been with the organization just a little over 2 years, and what I was able to step into was already extraordinary, and we just continue to grow it. So you already sort of set up, exactly what we exist to do. There is so much food out there that gets wasted needlessly. So it's estimated that just in New Jersey, close to 3 billion pounds of surplus food is produced every year. And that's happening at farms, manufacturers, distributors. There's waste and surplus at the retail level, at restaurants, catering halls, cafeterias, really everywhere, as well as at home, of course. But then on the other side of the equation is nearly 1.1 million of our own neighbors who are facing food insecurity. That's local families and kids. That's local senior citizens, veterans. It's everywhere. It's all around us in all of our communities. So what we do is bridge that gap. We go out and we work with hundreds and hundreds of food businesses of all types and sizes. We coordinate with them to rescue their surplus, their perishable surplus, healthy food while it's still fresh. And then we deliver that directly to close to 275 different pantries, community kitchens, shelters, group homes, veterans programs, senior centers, again, all of these different places where our neighbors are coming together to access food to sort of help them get through the month or help them make ends meet.
Heather, it's amazing. And one thing that I remember one of the honorees, and I can't remember the year because my age, forget it, the brain is gone. But I remember one of the honorees saying that people sometimes are reticent to donate cash. People sometimes don't have cash to donate. The one thing that everybody feels when you talk about is food insecurity. Because we've all at some point experienced hunger to different extents, not starvation. Most people have not experienced what some sadly do. But everybody knows the sense of hunger and the idea that you and I, if we're hungry, we have the capability of getting something into our systems. But there are hundreds of thousands of people, millions, 1.1 million in the state of New Jersey who don't have that same capability. And that, I think, hits the heart of so many people, good people in New Jersey, to say, whoa. I don't care how broke I am this week. That person cannot go hungry. Am I right? Is that something that I think it's rare to find somebody say, I'm not going to give my food to them. People love to help people when it comes to that. If you're hungry, I can't let you be hungry.
That's exactly right. It's really, like you said, everybody's experienced this at least a little bit in your life. If you've ever had a morning where you're so rushed that you leave the house without breakfast, right? And then you realize how you feel. You feel a little off kilter. You may get a headache. You're a little grumpy, right? Imagine being a child trying to go to school like that every single day. And it's not a matter of it was too rushed of a morning. It's a matter of there isn't any food in the house to feed that child a healthy breakfast. That's unacceptable. And when you think about the other side of the equation, that there's millions and millions and millions of pounds of food ending up in the trash needlessly, it really becomes a complete social injustice, right? So none of us can just be okay with that. And I am happy to say that I've never once met a person who thinks that any of that is acceptable or who would, say, no, that food should end up in the garbage. I mean, it's such a simple but impactful equation. Rescue the food, get it to folks who need it. The reality is we have enough food to feed everybody. We have to get it to the folks who need it.
Yeah, we have that first world problem of having so much food, we're throwing it out. And there are
Exactly.
people who are starving, and that's unacceptable. If you believe in a God, we're going to have to face that God at some point and have to explain that. And it's just not human to do that. And
Right.
this summer, the good folks at Goya Presents Flag Cities are helping out too. Tell us about that collaboration.
Yeah, we're incredibly excited about this. Of course, everybody in our entire region is just gearing up for the biggest sporting event in the world coming right here into our backyard in New Jersey. So knowing that with all of the activity and all of the, communities around all of northern New Jersey rallying around the World Cup, there are going to be these incredible festivals and watch parties and fan events all throughout our state. And the Goya Presents Flag Cities festivals are going to be among the largest and most exciting Each of those 5 events taking place in Newark and Jersey City, it's Secaucus, Bergen County, are expected to attract up to 10,000 people each. And with an event that big comes a lot of food, right? Food trucks, food vendors, catering. And so we are thrilled to have been selected as their official food security partner. We will be on site at every one of those events with our Kick Hunger Out of New Jersey tour van, rescuing all of that surplus food and then getting that out to community. And that series of events is sort of the cornerstone of this tour, this Kick Hunger Out of New Jersey tour that we're planning. So we're also inviting anybody else in the region who's hosting any sort of festival, watch party, at a, food has to be prepared in a commercial kitchen, but you can be part of our tour. We can come to you, we can rescue that surplus, and we can make sure that it goes to feed our neighbors. So we're incredibly excited about this, turning this, amazing, energizing event into real community impact.
Heather, what's the website so people can donate, or if you're a restaurant, a supermarket, a deli, and you want to get that food so that it doesn't go to waste, what's the website?
We are at www.tabletotable.org, and you can find information on that Kick Hunger Out of New Jersey tour at tabletotable.org/tour. And you, as Ken said, you can donate food. If you're coordinating an event, please reach out to us and we'll pick up that surplus. You can donate, contribute to keeping our trucks and our volunteers and our van on the road, and you can volunteer with us. So there's a lot of ways to get involved directly and really move the needle on reducing food waste and relieving hunger right here in New Jersey.
Great people. Heather Thompson, Executive Director of an organization near and dear to my heart, Table to Table, making sure good, fresh, uneaten food does not go to waste, but rather so those who need it most, that's where it should go. Thank you for coming on this morning, Heather. We'll have you back. And yes, I will be in touch about helping out however I can.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ken. We'll see you soon.
You bet, Heather. Thank you. It is now 51 degrees at 8:44. We're coming back in 2 minutes to talk about history coming to life on stage at the Paper Mill Playhouse. Be right back. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 846, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you.
This weather is brought to you by Audio Nova, your hearing experts, serving all of New Jersey with 13 locations.
All right, Mike, maybe there was a moment of sun peeking out on the thermotemperature sensors because I
Uh-oh.
saw this. It said the temperature rose to 51, but it didn't. It's 45 in northern New Jersey. So just to correct things.
A squirrel kind of, laid its body against it while eating a nut, and then
Exactly.
moved on by. You heard the rain last night up in northern New Jersey. Well, that computes to 150% of average rainfall for the last 30 days. So really got a good soaking up there in Morristown, Flemington, also quite high amounts, as opposed to just the last month alone, still in a deficit across southern New Jersey. But where the rain fell yesterday really helped, because now, as of this morning, none of New Jersey is even in a severe drought, just moderately or abnormally dry there across the northwestern corner of the state. And you can kind of tell by looking at the grass how green everything is. The flowers are starting to bloom. So yeah, we're looking good in the rain department. Always nice to start the season, which is typically very dry this time of year because there's no leaves on the trees. So the solar radiation gets right down to the ground and then to turn the dry brush very dry. This is also a lot of the time of year where we typically see the brush fires along the NJ Transit tracks there in the Meadowlands because of the steel on steel grinding and creating the sparks. Not this time. I think this year we'll have a very quiet fire season, especially with all the wet weather around. And even going into the next few weeks, even though it's slightly drier than usual, look at all this warmth that's headed in our direction for the end of the month, with warm weather ahead. And even the last week or so picked up more than an inch of rain in Atlantic City and close to 1.75 inches there over in Millville. So very mild weather on the way. Next month also looking quite dry. And wait a minute. High 7-day forecast did not show up. 1 second, please. I don't know what happened here. Oh, I know. I moved them because I wanted to use them for a different graphic. And I forgot to replace them. It's okay. We'll fix. There we go. 7-day forecast looking nice and dry into next week. Just have to get through the next few days of rain as we head into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. See, Ken, we have a new sponsor that starts today. And so I have to rearrange the weather graphics in order to make new weather segments. And, well, I kind of copy pasted or deleted, user error.
Rinse, wash, repeat. I was going to say it's the weather gremlins that you have in your
definitely
studio,
me.
but my friend, have a wonderful, because we're taking a little
too.
break tomorrow and Monday, so have a wonderful Easter. Always great to work with you, my friend. God bless.
Happy Easter, Ken.
Happy Easter. Thank you. It is 8:50 right now. Just a quick check of traffic. The Hudson River crossings are really all we have to talk about right now. The Lincoln Tunnel is a 10 to 15 minute crossover time. Holland is only 5 to 10. And the GWB upper and lower levels, we take a look right now into Manhattan. On the right side is the lower level, upper level on the left, and it's only 10 to 15 minutes in. The first full day of Passover and Holy Thursday. We wish you all a blessed holiday. It is 8:50 now, and a major moment in American history comes to life on stage as the Paper Mill Playhouse presents the Tony Award-winning musical 1776. The production not only tells the story behind the Declaration of Independence, but also shines a light on the powerful voices often left out of that narrative, including the voice of Abigail Adams. The show is on now, runs right through May 2nd, and joining us is a true star of Broadway. She played Cosette in Les Mis, among other huge star roles. Elena Shadow, who takes on the iconic role of Abigail Adams. Good morning, Elena. Great to have you on. I'm honored to have you here.
Hi, Ken. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. And I know for
Good morning.
somebody who performs on stage, this is like 2:00 in the morning for anybody else.
Correct.
So I really appreciate the fact that you came on.
I haven't
So
warmed up the
this,
voice yet. Sorry.
yeah, really. And you could hear what's left of mine. This is the end of our show, so this is what's left of it. Tell us why you took on the role of Abigail Adams. This sounds like a fascinating character. And how do you take somebody that influential in history and create in your mind the character?
Well, first of all, I took the role because I love the show. I've never been in it, and I think it's important as an actor to continue to tackle those roles that you haven't played yet. And as you said, you mentioned I played Cosette. I mean, I played Cosette 20 years ago. That is sort of an ingenue role, and as you grow up as an actor, you grow into certain roles. So I've never really been at the age where I was ready to play this yet, and now I am. And so it's a wonderful challenge, and it's wildly exciting. And the motif that she sings throughout the show is is considered one of the most beautiful, iconic motifs in all of musical theater. So it's a real honor to be able to sing it. And I hope you come see it because it is quite beautiful. And then, as far as preparing for the role, just like anybody else, you do research, right? So I've read biographies, I've read articles, I've Googled her. I mean, that's the scratching the surface, right? But the real interesting fact about Abigail and her husband, John Adams, is that they corresponded through letters over years and years and years. And there is a catalog of all of their letters, and they have been saved. And so what I represent with John Adams throughout the show, which is dramatized, are snippets of their letters and their correspondence. And so it's really gratifying to be able to come across it in the catalog of letters I've been reading and say, oh, that's where they got this. That's where they got this line, So it's that's how I've prepared, and just historical research of the time and who they were as a couple, and where they lived. They lived up in Boston. They had a farm called Braintree, and she was a magnificent, spectacularly intelligent woman. She kind of was right up there with the men who were signing that declaration in terms of intelligence, wit, and poise, and understanding of politics and the what was at stake at large. So.
Would you say, well, of course, one of her most famous lines is "Remember the ladies." So why does that message resonate so importantly today?
We are in a really tough political climate, as we all know, and I think the idea of equality is taken for granted. At a time when Abigail said, "Remember the ladies," she wasn't even talking about women's suffrage because that wasn't even a thought of possibility in her mind. What she meant was, remember the ladies when you write your laws in terms of women's right to education, and the way that men treat their wives and daughters in terms of passing on property. And so I think now that narrative has shifted because we have made so many advancements. And I think for us right now, I do believe that there is a concern for women's rights in terms of bodily autonomy. I think there is a huge concern for that in terms of, the SAVE Act. People have been really worried about that. Women have been worried about that, especially married women. I just think that it is timely. It's never not timely to be worried about women's rights. So.
And to all the men who might forget about it, just think, you had a mother, you may have a wife, you may have a sister. Just stop and be a little empathetic to the other 51% of civilization around you, and when you're making decisions and creating your thoughts. The show is part of course, the 250th anniversary of America, or at least it occurs. We're making it occur during that. So what makes 1776 especially meaningful then, right now, because of the special year?
Well, I mean, again, what an amazing time to be alive, right? We're also this great grand experiment that is America. We're still going. Here we are, right? We're still going, and it's really edifying for the audience to see the origin story. And I think it's invigorating. I mean, it's invigorating for me. To see it staged like this and to see it dramatized it's just so it's satisfying to see and imagine the conversations that went on in that cabinet room when they were signing, when they were debating whether we should declare independence or not, and the idea of freedom for all, which is really the biggest argument in the show, was between a man named Rutledge, who was from South Carolina, who did sign the Declaration of Independence, but he wanted to preserve his right to slavery, and John Adams wanted it gone. And that is a huge dramatic turning point in the play, and it is something that John Adams had to cede in order to gain independence. We had to leave out a clause that would have freed slaves right then and there. And I think it's important to remember that that is our origin story, and that there are people since the beginning of our country who really fought for freedom for all, and that's what we stand for. And it is gratifying to see that, and it's it's really wonderful. And I hope that when people see it, they feel unified in a way that we really need right now.
100%. I think too many Americans don't know the story of America, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we have all of it. But you have to know your history. You have to know the founding of America. And in order not to repeat the sins, you have to know about them. That's so essential.
Absolutely.
Let everybody know that the show is going to run through May 2nd. You can get tickets or more information at the website papermill.org. Papermill.org. You have a live orchestra too that you work with there, which is really nice because I know all too often they don't have many more on Broadway, right?
Right. We have we have a full orchestra. We're using the full orchestrations, and not only that, Paper Mill Playhouse is the top tier regional theater in all of New Jersey. I mean, we are at Broadway level in terms of our production values. Our crew backstage are all Jersey locals. There are amazing people. I've worked there a bunch of times. They're the best. I live in New Jersey. It's my favorite place to perform. You're going to get an amazing production right in your backyard.
Can't wait. Got to check it out. Elena Shadow, thank you so much for coming on today. We got to check it out. 1776 at the Paper Mill Playhouse. Have a wonderful Easter. Thanks for coming on today.
Thank you. You as well.
You bet. Thank you. And that's on New Jersey Mornings. Enjoy your holidays. A blessed Passover. Happy Easter. We'll see you again next week. Take care.